In the previous lecture, we made the transition from chapter 3 to chapter 4. Graphically, it was the step from flow connecting 2 points to flow connecting 1 point with an infinity of points. That infinity covering an area or a volume. This is the world, the reality on any surface or in any volume. Surface being here where we live on Earth, volume would be mining. Mining, if you pay attention to what's going on in very old industries of the underground, mining for gold, silver, salt, these days coal, and even more recently oil and natural gas. All of that is a three-dimensional dendritic, that is arborescent, lung-like architecture that grows as we speak. These mining machines are extending or invading the solid just the way that the airways are invading your thorax all the way to the alveoli. That is happening right now, and you don't know about it. But mining companies, if you get to know what they do, they show you movies how the territory or the possessions of the company have conquered even more of the underground. Pretty neat, huh? I told you not long ago that you're walking on an eggshell called the Earth's crust. That's actually 1/5 the thickness, relatively speaking, thickness of the shell of the egg. And now you see that in this very, very thin eggshell, there's a lot of configuring that goes on. Configuring that's due to human activity driven by human needs. Everybody wants, as you'll see very soon, power to move, which means to live. And so that was the review of the review. Also, in the previous lecture, speaking of these dendritic flows, I tackled the simplest. And the review of that was just last night. It occurred to me that the title of the previous lecture should have been How to Make a Drawing. You see, how to make a drawing. And by the way, here is something really cool. How to make is, remember these words. In the science, there's a debate. They're not even arguing. They think that, I'm talking about the scientists. And don't forget, engineering is a science. The science of useful phenomena and designs or configurations or contrivances. So engineering is a science. Anyway, the ones who describe themselves as scientists argue that science is knowledge. Knowledge, everybody knows how true that is because scientia in Latin means knowledge, so science means knowledge. And others, of course, follow the data. You've heard that expression. Data are knowledge. That's not true. Knowledge is not meaning information. Information is not knowledge. With information, I have lots of information here. I can light a fire with this information or with any book. Knowledge is not only the information, but what you do with it, you see. And that's where the underlined words come in. Fortunately, in English, they've been abbreviated to know-how. And of course, you, the speaker, you know what you're talking about, to know what to make what, you know. I call it to provide greater access or easier life, or you'll see later in the second or third half of the course, greater wealth. All these things speak of objective, direction, and purpose. Okay, so the simplest was a tree that's actually one stem with two branches. I call it the T flow. And it had several features, which were variables. There are 4 variables. There are 2 lengths and 2 diameters. I wrote them. There are 2 constraints. Meaning, to make the drawing, I had to acknowledge the fact that the drawing has a size called external size A, the size of the page, and volume, flow volume, or the amount of ink you spend on that paper. Get it? So 2 constraints, absolutely necessary in order to have contrast. So these 2 give the view contrast. And the contrast conveys to the viewer, meaning the person who buys your invention, conveys a message. It could be value. It is for this reason that even in engineering design, beauty plays a role. You look at, for example, motorcycles. I looked at them as I was driving to Duke this morning. They're getting to be more and more attractive. If you don't know the comparison between attractive and ugly, look at pictures of the oldest motorcycles. These are decades before World War II, where the front was mechanized from both directions by moving vehicles on 4 wheels, 2 wheels, or even more wheels. What are those vehicles with more than 4 wheels? Take it.
Trucks.
What?
Trucks.
Trucks, yes, but even more wheels in the trucks. The tanks. The tanks are running on their own road, which keeps rolling. Looks like a conveyor belt. What do you call this thing in English? The rolling band that hugs all the wheels of the tank. What's the name of it? It looks like a caterpillar. The caterpillar design is a peaceful tank. What?
Like the treads.
The treads. Yeah. Tread. Okay. Yeah, that's right. So the tank is treading on its own tread. Okay. Yeah. All right. Oh. So the lesson or the punchline to how to make a drawing is to go through these things, to figure out variables, which means your freedom in moving your hand on the page, the size of the page, which is A, the amount of ink, and then how these things are arranged. In our case, the message was that there is a pair of aspect ratios that convey the message. And these aspect ratios were pinpointed in the pursuit of perfection for what flows in to flow out the easiest. So these are the words that apply to everything else that happens in today, but also in this course. Any questions? you're a group of very docile people. I go home, I have nothing to report when I'm being questioned by my wife. Yeah. She's actually, because she's my wife, she says, not even the girls ask questions, because usually the girls are more, I think, more free in the mind. 2 years ago, I was about to speak at my high school where I was raised, and they would not let me leave 2 hours. And the questions were almost 100% from the girls. The boys were, they had other interests. Okay. Now, what happens next is the very important question: can I do better? Or what should I do with this, semi-abstract lesson? So why is this important? You're asking because you're talking about yourself. That is, to me. For one thing, life is not as simple as this drawing. So on this pedestal, you can build or you can sculpt more and more realistic sculptures, and by questioning the connection between this. It looks like a letter in some ancient alphabet. The connection between this very simple drawing and things you see out there. And I'll go through a few steps toward the greater realism.